Memoho Ache Ghana, good morning and good evening, India. Namaskar. Our guest for today, Chief Guest Honorable Michael Okiere Bafi, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry of Ghana. Our guest of honor, His Excellency Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana. Guest of honor, His Excellency Sebastian Bellevine, Charge d'Affaires, Ghana High Commission to India. Charles Abani, Resident Coordinator, United Nations, Ghana. Ujjwala Singhania, President FLO. Past presidents, presidium, governing body members, FLO members, participants from United Nations, entrepreneurs from Ghana and India. A very warm welcome to all of you to the Indo-Ghana Business and Trade Conclave for Women Entrepreneurs, organized by FICCI FLO in collaborations with United Nations in Ghana. When we hear of Ghana, we think of gold, bauxite, diamonds, oil and gas. It produces the world's finest cocoa. Ghana teak has been recognized as is a recognized brand of timber in India. This peaceful middle-income country is considered a gateway to West Africa. A favorite country of mine, it gives me immense pleasure to chair today's conclave. Our focus in today's conclave is on access to finance and creating an enabling trade environment, especially for women entrepreneurs. Several market failures imply the need for policy attention to access finance for new and small innovative entrepreneurs, as well as removing trade barriers and creating the relevant infrastructure, policies, and systems for bilateral trade. In 2019, India exported $637 million worth of products to Ghana. The main products that India exported to Ghana are packaged medicaments, steam turbines, packaging bags. During the last 24 years, the exports of India to Ghana have increased at an annualized rate of 14%, from $27.3 million in 1995 to $637 million in 2019. Similarly, Ghana exported $3.62 billion to India. The main products were gold, crude, petroleum, coconuts, Brazil nuts, and cashews. During the last 24 years, the exports of Ghana to India have increased at an annualized rate of 23.6%, from $22.4 million in 95 to $3.62 billion in 2019. The main objectives of this collaboration between various stakeholders of the two countries is to increase the demand for goods and services supplied by women entrepreneurs from India and Ghana, create platforms for increasing international trade, support, initiate, and improve efforts to integrate women vendors into global value chains, build the capacity of trade support institutions to provide better services to women clients, increase the awareness of policymakers of the potential of women entrepreneurs, and raise awareness of related barriers that hamper the participation in international trade. Today, we have many eminent speakers with us for panel discussion and dignitaries after the first opening session. Now, may I request Mrs. Ujjwala Singhania, FICCI-led his organization's 30th National President, to give a welcome address. Mrs. Singhania is an industry leader whose focus has been on involving and engaging more women in the economic development of the country. Over to you, Ujjwala.
Thank you very much, Dharitri. Namaste and a very good evening from India. Let me welcome you all to the India-Ghana Trade Conclave for Women Entrepreneurs, a collaboration with United Nations in Ghana to bring together women entrepreneurs and business leaders of both the nations. I'm delighted to welcome Honorable Michael Okiere Bafi, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry of Ghana, His Excellency Mr. Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana, and His Excellency Sebastian Bellevine, Charge d'Affaires of Ghana High Commission in New Delhi. Your Excellencies, thank you for giving us this opportunity to be addressed by you. It's my honor to welcome you today as the 38th National President of FLO. Mr. Charles Abani, Resident Coordinator of United Nations, Ghana, welcome and thanks for this collaboration. A warm welcome to all our panelists, moderator, and our guests from Ghana and India. India and Ghana have shared warm and cordial relationship that dates back to strong bilateral relations led by India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Ghana's first President, Dr. Kwame Koro. Today, India is amongst top 5 trading partners of Ghana and its largest destinations for export, amounting to $557.17 million till July 2020. Ghana has a positive trade balance with India, mainly due to the huge import of gold by India, which accounts for nearly 80% of total imports from Ghana. Ghana is projected to have the fastest growing economy in the world. In the realm of business, its women entrepreneurship enjoy special status. Ghana has the highest rate of women-owned businesses in the world at 46.4%. The women's labor force participation in Ghana is at 96.1%. It is pertinent that we explore the possibility of working jointly towards the goal of women economic empowerment. Since its inception in 1983, FLOW has been playing an active role as an enabler of women empowerment through entrepreneurship and economic development of women. Through its international trade initiative, FLOW proposes to create a worldwide forum for the exchange of information, experience, visibility, and connectivity among women business owners, setting the stage for new opportunities and joint ventures among women entrepreneurs and business leaders. India and Ghana have huge potential to explore trade and investment opportunities. Let's take this collaboration further and create the linkage between women entrepreneurs of both the countries. Thank you very much.
Mr. Charles Abani is the resident coordinator of United Nations in Ghana. Mr. Abani is a seasoned international development practitioner with over 25 years of experience in the public and private and non-profit sectors, having worked in senior country and regional leadership roles in Africa, Asia, and in Europe. Mr. Abani is from the Federal Republic of Nigeria and holds a BA in History and an Executive Management Certificate from Oxford University. Charles, over to you for your remarks.
Thank you, Daritri. I hope you can all hear me. Thank you. The Charge d'Affaires for the Nigerian High Commission in India, the Honorable Indian High Commissioner here to Ghana, the Deputy Minister in charge of Industry, the National President of FLOW, the CEO of Ghana Enterprise Agency, colleagues from the UN system, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and you, of course, Daritri, for your chairship role. Good morning, everybody here from Ghana. Good afternoon and good evening to you in your various locations. It's really a pleasure to be part of this inaugural event. And let me commend FLOW, the women's wing of the Indian Chamber of Commerce, FICCI, and the Indian High Commission for this great initiative, which hinges on women's entrepreneurship and helps us to build on the momentum of South-South collaboration, develop really business-to-business opportunities to engage, explore opportunities to really create and enhance the entrepreneurship ecosystem, and particularly create opportunities for women to really engage in joint ventures. This is really key to building back better and recovering from the pandemic. Entrepreneurship and decent work are the bedrocks of economic development. They support the economic empowerment of women and men, families, communities, and countries. This is a really important initiative in terms of really building on Ghana's own ambition to not just become self-reliant, but to go beyond aid. We know the impacts of the pandemic, particularly, and for the 90% plus of citizens in the country who are involved in entrepreneurship and activity, the pandemic was a huge shock to their systems. And so really working to rebuild that, and particularly of those numbers, women constitute the majority. And so building back better must be also about building back more inclusively. And this is a key plank upon which this activity is founded. We know that if women play an identical role to men in the labor market, as much as $12 trillion or 26% can be added to global GDP by 2025. This is a lot of money and a lot of impact on the world economy, but not just the economy. We know that when women have access to money, they increase health-seeking behavior, they increase access to education and lots of social services. And so this is a completely important aspect of really ensuring that we see a world by 2030 that is more inclusive of the citizens of the world and gives more voice to women in the work that they do. Ghana has been taking leading steps, the ratification of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area as a means to expand and open the market for 1.27 billion people, which is very instrumental. India and Ghana have enjoyed a long relationship, and I think colleagues have already talked about trade that is close on $2.4 billion alone in 2020 in spite of the pandemic. The MasterCard Index on Women's Entrepreneurship ranks Ghana as 37th with healthy and dynamic entrepreneurial ecosystem, business creativity and innovation for women entrepreneurs. Promoting women's economic empowerment requires market-based approaches and economic gains and incentives that go hand in hand. There are a range of barriers, obviously, that women face. A major part of this includes access to productive assets, which really enable them to raise the capital to invest. There are also constraints for women's ability to participate equally and fully in the labor market and on policy dialogues and discussions. And as I've said already, COVID-19 has had significant impact. So this forum, this platform as created will give us an opportunity to begin to redress some of those particularly difficult constraints that women face. And we look really forward to hearing some of the thoughts and ideas that will enable us to build the kinds of bridges here. The UN's role really is one of support and facilitation and enablement, really. And so we really look for a process in which businesses and women across these two great countries, spanning two great continents, are able to devise approaches and look for ways in which we can turn this aspiration of a global community of women into a practical and real one. And I really look forward to hearing the thoughts of the panelists, a very good panel that has been put together with some thoughts to enable us to begin to take this process forward. We ourselves within the UN will continue to support this process, and we look to continue to foster these kinds of dialogues and to provide some kind of anchor and base while really putting women at the forefront of this, both in India and here in Ghana, and we'll continue to provide that role. I trust that my colleagues from the UN system will speak to this, but this is a commitment that we will make. And so this is really just the first step in this conversation. Let me thank you for all coming to this and hand back to you, Directory. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. Mr. Sebastian Bellevine, Charge the Affairs of Ghana High Commission in New Delhi, holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Sociology and Political Science and Masters of Arts in International Affairs. He joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration of the Republic of Ghana in June 2000. He previously served in the Permanent Mission of Ghana to the United Nations, New York, and in Monrovia in Liberia. Your Excellency, may I now request you to address us. So are you there? You're not able to, yes, thank you. We are not able to hear you.
Hello. Now it's audible?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Distinguished speakers and panelists, warm greetings from the Ghana High Commission in New Delhi. At the outset, let me express sincere gratitude to the FICCI Ladies Organization for organizing this all-important webinar. Ghana and India, as previously mentioned by others, have over the years enjoyed warm and cordial relations, which have found expression in our strong cooperation in both bilateral and multilateral levels. Those who live in Ghana know very well that there are thousands of Indians and people of Indian descent currently living there. And without doubt, the business activities of Indians in Ghana have contributed in no small way to Ghana's economic development. In terms of trade, the figures are out there with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center's website. So there's no point repeating them, but just to say that the annual volume of trade between the two countries appreciated to a high of 4.48 billion in 2019, a positive trend which was expected to be sustained and improved to reach 5 billion. Actually, our target. Sadly, the ongoing pandemic turned things around, but in 2020, it wasn't that disappointing. So this is where we are. It's been good, and we continue to build on this very impressive relationship. Turning to the topic of today, like many countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana has had impressive economic growth in recent decades. But the impressive economic growth has not led to the creation of sufficient employment, especially for the teeming youth who enter the labor market every year, especially from our universities. Within the context of limited employment and other opportunities in the labor market, the development of entrepreneurial activity is seen as having a key role in the Ghanaian economic environment. Because entrepreneurship can drive innovation and competition and act as a catalyst for structural transformation of an economy and consequently a reduction in poverty. Women participation in entrepreneurship has been very impressive in Ghana because they outnumber the men. And here, let me just share my personal experience during my previous work at our embassy in Monrovia. In 2012, at the time, we had this funding from EDIF, where the embassy, in collaboration with the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, organized what we call solo exhibition to promote indigenous products and services of Ghana abroad. I realized at the time, because I was at the center of the organization, that about 95%, if not more, of the of Ghanaians who participated in the solo exhibition were women, mostly in textiles, beads, beauty products, sandals, all made in Ghana. And it was an experience I learned so much from, and I began to appreciate the fact that women are really making efforts to build themselves and to build Ghana's economy. But then there are challenges. Some of these challenges can be looked at, particularly in the natural role of a woman being the person who bears a child and take care of the child, especially at a very young age, combining childbearing and doing business is quite a challenging enterprise, very challenging. And it's one area that I see as not necessarily a problem, but there are challenges that need to be looked at if we really want to help our women develop. Another area is the issue of owning property, especially land. Coming from the northern part of Ghana, where we are mostly patrilineal and women virtually don't own land at all. The land is owned by the men in keeping with customary law, and therefore they are unable to access finance to run their businesses, especially when it comes to the issue of collateral and startup capital. These are issues which needs to be looked at, and the land ownership or property ownership can be closely linked to accessing credit, because in Ghana and in most countries, collateral is really a challenge. In recognition of the private sector as the crucial engine of economic growth and job creation, and in recognition of all these challenges that I've mentioned, the government since 2017 adopted radical social and fiscal reforms, among others, to create jobs for our teeming youth. Notable among them is the initiative of One District, One Factory, which aim at achieving accelerated economic growth through medium and small scale enterprises. Through this initiative, progressive female entrepreneurs are identified and enrolled on the program with financial support. These entrepreneurs in turn recruit, train, and help younger women. And in Ghana, I dare say that I had a conversation with one entrepreneur who is in the textile industry in 2019. She was in 2019 March. She was in India for CII Exim Bank Conclave in March. She is in Kumasi. She told me that she recruited mostly, in Ghana we call them kayaye. In English, probably we say they are head porters. These are people from very not privileged backgrounds who try to make a living, sometimes at very early ages. And because conditions are a bit rough, sometimes they fall into the wrong hands, get pregnant, they give birth at very early ages, and their whole lives are turned upside down. So these entrepreneurs recruit these young ladies, get them off the street, train them, and help them to begin to establish themselves. In fact, in the case of this woman, she told me in Kumasi, she targeted these kayayes or head porters, and she's also been enrolled into the One District, One Factory initiative to supply school uniforms. This is one area the government is working on to help entrepreneurs. Additionally, in June 2020, in the heat of, in the height of the pandemic, the government of Ghana launched the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, NEP, a multi-pronged approach aimed at creating the conducive and business-friendly environment to stimulate enterprise activities and provide integrated national support for startups and small businesses that would in turn generate employment for the teeming youth of Ghana, a greater number being women. Aside of government initiatives, thinking generally, the private sector is one area that can leverage synergies that will provide key elements of efforts to create opportunities for Africa's hardworking women. One area will be to look at how to get around this childbearing and care and also running a business. How do we get around that? Will it take probably having a crèche or a government-sponsored institution where women who are very young kids can be supported to have somebody taking care of these kids whilst they engage in their businesses? These are thoughts we should be looking at. And again, education and technical skills. For most of these entrepreneurial engagements takes a lot of training in terms of knowing what it takes to run a business and how to access finance and how to grow your business. All this needs some education and technical skills. Again, in terms of our customary law, how do we get around the issue of land ownership and assets? Are we going to think about if I acquire my house, I'll have it registered in my name and in my wife's name, so that if my wife is going to engage in an enterprise, she can use the house to get a collateral, use it as a collateral, instead of most of the houses owned by men, the land is owned by men, and the woman is probably just selling ice water or some tabletop in front of the house just to occupy herself and take care of the children. These are things we need to think and see which way are we going? How do we get around all these challenges to enable our women growth? But in my practical experience, especially during my time in Liberia, we did it in 2012, we did it in 2013, 2014, we're preparing to do it in, I think, October, November. Unfortunately, I had my first experience of a pandemic. Ebola hit hard in July, August. So by October, we were all in hiding. We could no longer organize such a huge exhibition to promote indigenous products and services from Ghana. So these are a few thoughts, and I will say that I have seen the work and the zeal of the Ghanaian women, and I believe in them. I see the strength in them, the determination in them to work hard. In conclusion, let me once again thank Fiki Ladies Organization for the webinar, and to mention that women are the pivot around which the smallest unit of society, that is a family, revolves. And when a woman is empowered, the family, and by extension, society is empowered. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Rajaram is a career diplomat who joined the Indian Foreign Services in 2001. He has served in various capacities in multiple locations. Mr. Sugandh Rajaram is an electronics engineer by education. I would now like to request His Excellency Sugan Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana, to address us. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar. Thank you, Dharitriji, for the warm welcome and kind introduction. I'd like to thank Flo for organizing this very important conclave on India-Ghana business relations and putting together all the stakeholders of our bilateral economic relations to see that how we can make way for our women entrepreneurs to take advantage of our growing economic relations. So thank you once again. I'd like also thank and commend my good friend Charles Abani of UN Ghana to support this kind initiative. I'm happy to see the presence of Honorable Bafi, who is a close friend of India, to support this initiative. As we all know that India and Ghana are very old and close friends. Our relations date back to the time when we were partners in the freedom struggle against our colonial rule. I think our close political cooperation has made way for integrated relations between the two countries in all the spheres. Especially today, the trade and economic relations form the bedrock of our relations. Today, when we see that during the pandemic, the global supply chain has been disrupted, the Indian entrepreneurs have taken advantage of the gap in this regard and come forward to contribute. We have seen that Indian exports to Ghana have increased in spite of the pandemic from 600 million to more than 850 million. So I think this is an area where our women entrepreneurs who are active in this area can take advantage of the growing trade relations with Ghana. Beyond trade, there are a lot of opportunities for investments in Ghana, particularly in the small and medium sector. In addition to the infrastructure, manufacturing and services, we see immense opportunities and huge synergy of cooperation in the areas like agriculture development, rural development, agro-processing, and other allied small cottage industries. Also mineral processing, water supply, irrigation, renewable energy, all gamut of development related investments. I think the Indian products, technologies, expertise, and skills, which are more appropriate for the needs here, can be easily implemented and translated to take advantage of these investment opportunities here. India is also one of the significant developmental partners of Ghana. Till date, we have provided close to $500 million of developmental assistance to this country. The Indian entrepreneurs are invited to see that how they can leverage the way that we have created the relations that we have created through this huge developmental assistance to this country. At the same time, many of the Indian companies have showcased and demonstrated the project execution capabilities in Africa, which is not a mean achievement. So over the years, we have been implementing billions of dollars worth of projects here. And India has given a lot of credit to these private companies who are executing projects here. And I'd like to see that Indian entrepreneurs, particularly the women entrepreneurs, can take advantage to see that these opportunities can also be leveraged further for making our business business is sustainable. There are a lot of opportunities in the time to come, particularly when you see a growing expansion plans here in Ghana, in infrastructure, in other connectivity projects, and also in the healthcare. Particularly in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, we see a lot of focus by the authorities on expanding the healthcare infrastructure. There are certain challenges, but I'm sure with well-advanced and careful and coordinated planning, these challenges can be overcome. We see a lot of support, initiative from the local authorities here. There's a huge program of industrialization in the country, infrastructure expansion, agricultural transformation, and the local value addition. I think the Indian investors, particularly the small and medium sector entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, can take advantage of the opportunities arising out of these expansion plans. At the same time, the continental, the African free trade area, which has been recently established, has also expanded the market access for the Indian businesses coming to Africa. All in all, I see a huge synergy between what is needed here and what can be provided by the Indian businesses, small and medium businesses, women businesses from India in terms of the products, services, appropriate technologies, skills, and expertise. Our High Commission here, the High Commission of India in Accra, works closely with the Indian businesses to facilitate, promote, support their efforts to take advantage of the opportunities in Ghana, to increase the market access for Indian products and services, and to see that our SME entrepreneurs get the opportunities availed to invest in Ghana. And I'm eagerly looking forward to deepen this cooperation, this engagement further in the time to come, especially when we come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And also when we are celebrating India at 75, that is the 75 years of Indian independence. I think this will be a major milestone if now during this period we can break the barriers for our women entrepreneurs to take advantage of our growing external economic engagement. And from this perspective, I'm looking forward to the fruitful deliberations during this event. I'd like to thank Flo for organizing this event and giving me the opportunity to interact with you all. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you, sir. We have with us a very well-known leader from Ghana. Honorable Michael Ukere Bafi is the Deputy Minister for Industry and Trade. He is an astute politician and dedicated member of the governing New Patriotic Party. He was a former CEO of Ghana Free Zones Authority. He was the chairman of Finance Committee of the National Youth Wing from 2014 to 18. He is also a board member of the Ghana National Service Scheme. Honorable Michael was a member of the Manifesto Subcommittee on Trade and Industries and was also member of the Trade and Industry Subcommittee of 2017 Presidential Transition Team in Ghana that successfully guided a seamless and smooth transfer of power from an outgoing government to an incoming government. Honorable Bafi holds a BSc in Psychology and an MBA in Marketing and Corporate Strategy. It's our honor to have you with us today, Honorable Deputy Minister. Kindly address us.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you very much. Chairperson, the Ghana India Women Entrepreneur Business Conclave, the Honorable Minister of State for Trade and Industry in India, Excellencies, High Commissioners, the UN Resident Coordinator Ghana, the National President of FLO, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished private sector operators, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to address the Ghana-India Women Entrepreneur Business Conclave. I bring you greetings from my hardworking Honorable Minister, who could not be present because of an equally important national assignment. He extends his greetings and felicitations to you all. I want to start by expressing my profound gratitude to FLOW, the UN country team in Ghana, and the India High Commission in Ghana for organizing this business conclave through FLOW's Empowering Women Through Trade and Business Initiative, and extending an invitation to the Honorable Minister as a chief guest to deliver an address. The commencement of African Continental Free Trade Agreement, trading by state parties in the African Union from 1st January 2021, and socioeconomic challenges from the recent COVID-19 pandemic have brought to the fore the need to rethink the role of women in fostering a rapid economic recovery. The potential of trade to expand women's role in the economy, decrease inequality, and expand women's access to skills and education cannot be underestimated. According to the World Bank and WTO, trade has been the engine of poverty, has been the engine to reduce poverty and also to reduce gender inequality. Therefore, I consider the focus of this conclave both timely and crucial in igniting a robust conversation about the opportunities and potential for business collaboration between women entrepreneurs of India and Ghana for mutually beneficial growth and prosperity for our mutual economies. Ghana is implementing strategic policies to empower women to maximize the benefit of trade, since 80% of companies in Ghana operate as SMEs, and women are overrepresented in the informal sector. These policies include removing trade barriers that impede women's access to international markets and improving women's access to education, financial services, and digital technologies. Ghana has put in place a simplified trade regime to facilitate trade at the border entry points with our neighboring countries, namely Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and Togo, to enhance the business activities of women and other SMEs. Chairperson, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, India and Ghana have a lot in common that cut across our diplomatic, economic, social, and cultural relations. In the context of the South-South cooperation, India's relations with Ghana grew steadily in the immediate post-independence era as a result of solidarity and goodwill, among others. Ghana can benefit from India's rich experience in institutional support for enhancing the contribution of women to small and medium enterprises, to economic growth and job creation. FLOW should support the policies that Ghana has put in place to empower women entrepreneurs. African Continental Free Trade Area is a major milestone towards regional integration and free trade on the African continent. The single continental market is the most viable vehicle for industrialization, the integration of regional value chains, and for boosting investments in our countries and achieving economies of scale. Thereafter, we boost intra-African trade, stimulate investment and innovation, foster structural transformation, improve food security, and enhance economic growth and export diversification. Above all, it provides a fresh impetus and dynamism to economic integration in Africa. Africa is the new frontier for investing with access
to the single market with a population of 1.2 billion and an estimated GDP of 3.4 trillion US dollars. The flow should seriously consider partnering with women entrepreneurs in Ghana as entry to trade and invest in Africa to take advantage of the African continental free trade area. A strong, transparent, and determined partnership will indeed be mutually beneficial now and in the long term. Chairperson, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, India's impressive development of women entrepreneurs puts in a unique position to cooperate with Ghana as a strategic development partner for women's enhancement and professional excellence for inclusive economic growth trajectory. I wish all of you a very fruitful and constructive business enclave, and I wish you well. God bless us all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the Managing Director of SGSSB here along with his team. And now I would request Flo's National President for her remarks.
Thank you. It was very enriching and informative to hear our eminent guests talk about opportunities and potential for business collaboration between women entrepreneurs between India and Ghana. Honorable Michael Bafi, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry of Ghana, it was great honor to have you with us and represent your ministry today. Your Excellency, Mr. Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana, we are thankful to you for giving us your valuable time and addressing us. Your Excellency, Mr. Sebastian Belvine, Charge d'Affaires of Ghana High Commission in New Delhi. Thank you for sharing your valuable inputs. Mr. Charles Sabani, Resident Coordinator, Ghana. Thank you very much for this partnership. I request you all to actively participate in the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chala. We now have a panel which focuses on access to finance and discussion on enabling trade and business environment, especially for SMEs and MSMEs. The panel discussion will be followed by a question-answer session by participants. We'll try our best to respond to all the queries, and we have with us representatives from both the governments and the private sectors here. Our moderator for the panel discussion is Abena Notori. Abna heads the UN Habitat Office in Ghana and possesses over 15 years of experience and expertise in strategic planning, development, finance, and management. She has been with UN Habitat for the past 14 years and oversees the work of UN Habitat in Ghana. She holds a master's degree in business administration and a bachelor's of science in development planning. The floor is all yours, Abna.
Good morning to people in Ghana and good evening to participants in India. The Honorable Deputy Minister for Ghana, Mr. Michael Ochiri-Befi, the High Commissioner for India to Ghana, His Excellency Mr. Subhan Rajaram, Your Excellency Mr. Sebastian Belvine for the Ghana High Commission to India, the President of FLO, the UN Resident Coordinator for Ghana, and colleagues in the UN. I am very happy to be part of this program today because we all know financing is an important means to pursue growth opportunities, and addressing women entrepreneurs' specific needs in accessing finance is and must be part of the development agenda. Of particular focus today is the discussions on evidence and recommendations on expanding the ability of women entrepreneurs to pursue economic opportunities and bilateral trade. To help us today are very accomplished women with extensive experience and knowledge and have made significant contributions in Ghana and India. So I'll start with Ms. Kosi Yankee Aye, who is the head of Ghana Enterprises Agency. Kosi had over 17 years experience in the USA, Europe, and West Africa, where she developed a deep understanding and knowledge of finance, entrepreneurship, SME, and policy development. She also serves as an advisor on the Ministry of Finance's Advisory Committee and is a board member of the Accra Digital Center, as well as the tech member of various economic committees. Most importantly for today, Kosi is the first woman to be the CEO of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, and which is also under the Ministry of Trade and Industry and mandated to strengthen and grow micro, small, and medium enterprises. Next on our list is Ms. Leticia Brown. Ms. Leticia Brown is currently the director for Intelligent Capital and a member of the Accra Angel Investment Network with over 20 years experience in business development, management, and entrepreneurship development. She also, before then, she had also run an angel investor connecting early stage businesses and high net worth individuals. She currently works as the technical advisor to the SDG Advisory Unit at the Office of the President, responsible for developing innovative financing solutions, private sector engagement, and leading joint advocacy to create enablers for achieving the SDGs. Next on our panel is Ms. Kusum Singh, who is the Deputy General Manager of the Indian Exim Bank. Kusum has an undergraduate in commerce from Delhi and MBA in finance from the university in India. She has been working with the Exim Bank since 1991 and has extensive experience in corporate banking group in the bank. This group offers a range of financing programs to enhance the export competitiveness of Indian industries. Okay, next on our list is Ms. Shakila Makanda. Ms. Shakila Makanda is the founder director of the Bromec and property of the Intel Solutions. With that being said, we'll move straight into our questions. And our first question goes to Kosi. So without wasting everybody's time, to the panelists, we say, once you have any questions and the discussions are ongoing, you can put your questions in the chat as well. While we are able, we'll respond to your questions, and if not, we'll compile the responses to the directorate later. Thank you for your understanding. So first question goes to Ms. Kosi. Kosi, with your experience, extensive for that matter, experience in working with women entrepreneurs in the micro, small, and medium scale enterprises, and the first woman CEO of the Ghana Enterprises Agency. Could you kindly share with us the steps that have been taken by the Ghanaian government and your agency specifically to address bottlenecks in facing women entrepreneurs in Ghana?
Sure. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I think that a lot of work has been done by the Ghana government to support women entrepreneurs and ensure that the bottlenecks that they face are reduced drastically. And so the first one, which was the foundation, was really led by the Ministry of Trade and Industry, was to design and develop the National MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy. Because one of the things we realized was that there was no plan or direction initially to give us the opportunity to have a gender lens and focus on the work that we've been doing over time. So the most important thing was to kind of develop this plan and have a policy which would actually spearhead and lead the direction for the sector with a strong focus and emphasis on women entrepreneurs. And so a lot of work was done in designing this policy and really also in the implementation of it. So it was just not one policy that was set up, but really to implement it, because we realized that if we're going to address some of the bottlenecks facing women entrepreneurs, then we had to really pay attention to how implementation was being done. And so
I think we lost her.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So I apologize. I think there was a problem with the service and it just went off. So I'm going to use someone in the office's phone, if you don't mind. Can you hear me now?
Yes, very well.
Okay,
Please go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. So I think that it's, as I mentioned, there was a national MSME policy that led to the direction to address the bottlenecks. We had noticed that there were a few things which were bottlenecks for women. Is the really strong informal nature of them, the lack of data on them, the lack of their ability to really keep financial records to build their businesses so they can access finance, building that even banking culture, the use of technology and digital tools at a time such as this when COVID-19 pandemic was coming up, and really shortages of and unavailability of raw materials for them to be able to build their businesses and grow their businesses. So when, we all are aware of the COVID-19 pandemic and what it's been done to the world, but really also most importantly, what it's done to women businesses. And so our efforts were quite timely to really address some of these bottlenecks. What we've been able to do really through the work we do has been come up with ways, institutionalized processes and programs, actually provide us some resources and support for businesses to be able to formalize their businesses. Because we realized that women businesses were not growing as fast or even growing at all due to certain issues and reasons, and formalization was a main one of them. So as the government agency really set up to mandate us to support and grow businesses, our work has really focused on how do we formalize, give them the opportunity to formalize if they don't have the resources to be able to do their work. The other was lack of data on them, which we've been able to try to build and get data, and we now have a database of over 500,000 of them that we work with to be able to support it. And reason when I talk about data and really using that to address the bottlenecks facing women entrepreneurs, it's important to note that because we have data, we were able to really look at the interventions and the policy that is really directed and geared towards them. And also making it clear that majority of the businesses and entrepreneurs we're working with were women enterprises. In looking at the pandemic and what it brought, one of the major interventions of government had been the CAP Business Support Scheme, where we provided access to finance. And yes, CAP coronavirus, COVID-19 came and hit us. But really what it was able to do for a lot of these women entrepreneurs and to reduce the barriers and bottlenecks was actually access to finance, which we've been able to overcome that bottleneck with a government policy and government institutional support to build this capacity for us to be able to have funding, of which we provided support to over 299,000 beneficiaries, of which 69% of them were women beneficiaries. And it was really an intentional effort for us to be able to do that. So I think I'm back now on it.
Thank you, because it's very good to hear about the identification of the problems in order to help these women entrepreneurs with their businesses. So we'll move on to the other panelists before we come back, and it's the time for Shakila. Shakila, what can you say has been the enabling environment created by the Indian government to promote businesses of women entrepreneurs in India?
Hi, everybody. Very good evening. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for the opportunity to represent myself over here. Thanks, Vicky, High Commission of Ghana, Flow, and associated organizations for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much. So in my 5 years of experience with Ghana and Ghanaians, with respect to business and business alliance, and also conducting my own business in Ghana, there has been great motivation in terms of fellow Ghanaians who are working with me, being in an IT profession and in a marketing profession where service is of the highest order. It is very important that we align ourselves with the right kind of associates, and that's something Ghana has provided me. So that is one of the very important, process. I think there's a lot of things that are still yet to come, which we are looking forward to in the coming years. But what enabled me is to already know a couple of people with similar mindset and open to work with the non-Ghanaians, right? That was a biggest question, because in my experience with other nationalities, to have a nice tie-up or a long relationship has been a great challenge. So this is one thing that really helped me. And of course, through High Commission Ghana, I have been able to meet and connect with already existing business entrepreneurs who were looking at that time to extend their business and expand their business into Ghana and other close by countries to operate, and that gave the leverage. So in a way, I think the open-mindedness to begin with 5 years ago was very important for me to step my foot inside. And today we are associated with 3 wonderful organizations in Accra and around and surrounding. And my visits have been amazing. They've been friendly. I think that kind of openness has to be extended for more than just the service that we can provide, so that the trust factor can be elevated to do greater business. So that is one thing. Second is the kind of support we get from the people of the highest order in the Ghana government, and also here from the High Commission, to clear your doubts. At least we know there is one place to go and discuss our troubles and see what is the way forward to do a proper smooth business and not get hooked up or entangled into a long litigated manner of doing business, which can be a greatest hurdle on long term in terms of engagement with other organizations in Ghana. So these 2 have been my greatest enabler, and there is more that I'm looking forward to. CII, like FICCI, in the year 2018-19 and 20 virtual events has given a great exposure. I think this is something that I'm looking forward to more and more, so that I get better opportunities to work with. Thank you, Abena. I think that's been my greatest strength to back and work with Ghana and the Ghanaian team at this moment. There's a small team that is set up in Accra. I'm very proud of that small team and the association we have.
Thank you. We are happy to know that you're having a great collaboration with your Ghanaian counterparts, and then the support from the embassies as well. So our next question goes to Leticia. With Leticia, we would kindly like to know, because access to finance is critical for entrepreneurs and enterprises, especially the startups and MSMEs. How has the landscape for the MSMEs evolved in Ghana, and what are some of the barriers to accessing finance?
Hi, good morning, Abena, and good morning, everyone. All protocols observed. We have several distinguished guests on the call today, so I'm not going to address everybody, but thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this discussion. Abena, you just asked a question, but I'd like to maybe just take a moment to maybe provide a bit of clarification, because I think that startups and MSMEs often have very different requirements, right? So if we're talking about MSME financing, it's typically being able to get access to credit. And MSMEs, whether female-owned or male-owned, there are a number of different challenges there in Ghana, and I think probably in most emerging markets, a couple of which have been named already. Access to startup capital, financing innovation is a very different kettle of fish, quite frankly. We're talking about early stage investment funds, we're talking about angel investors. So therefore the landscape looks extremely different for both categories. So I'll try to speak to both very quickly. My heart kind of like sits in the early stage innovation and startup space. So I'll start with that. The startup ecosystem in Ghana has really been evolving quite rapidly over the last, 6 to 8 I'd say probably about 8 to 10 years, to be honest, but really picking up momentum in the last 6 years. And what that means is that we now have, a well-established angel investor network. So there are high net worth individuals, both locally, as in local high net worth individuals, as well as international individuals that are constantly looking for opportunities to provide access to finance for very early stage businesses, startups, so seed capital, the first investors in the door. We're also having a much more established ecosystem of incubators and accelerators, both private owned and also government-led in initiatives as well, making mention of, we've got GEA on the call, Madam Nkosi Yankee has been running a number of different programs to support early stage businesses to get access to capital. However, the landscape still looks very different, right? So I was just doing a little bit of research yesterday, and in the first half of 2021,
the meeting. I don't know. I was in a meeting. Okay.
$20.5 billion, whereas Ghanaian startups will raise around $120 million. So we're talking about billions and we're talking about millions. That just goes to show and to paint a picture of how much opportunity there is in Ghana to grow and scale our early stage entrepreneurship ecosystem. Now, we do have a couple of local venture capital funds. However, they really operate more like PE, so providing capital for SMEs rather than providing early stage capital for startups. Now, on the MSME side, we spoke a little bit about access to finance for women-owned businesses. Now, I don't necessarily feel that Ghana has any peculiar challenges here.
Hello, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. Okay, the same challenges that most women-owned businesses face in emerging markets. Access to capital, because of the lack of collateral, remains a key challenge. However, some local banks have really kind of taken the initiative to try and rectify this by providing quite unique solutions. And I believe that this trend is going to continue to evolve. I'll give you a specific couple of examples. So Access Bank have an initiative called the W Initiative, which basically allows women entrepreneurs to utilize stock as collateral with short-term 3-month cycle loans, which basically allows women to overcome the lack of traditional collateral, such as property, land, etc., that one of our co-speakers spoke about earlier. And although these are short 3-month cycle loans, it just provides an opportunity for you to get your foot in the door and to start building some level of credibility. They also have an initiative that's specifically for micro SMEs, maybe focus on more of the rural areas and informal sectors. And this allows these SMEs that are part of particular associations, for example, market women associations, where the association can actually act as a guarantor to allow them to get access to capital. CalBank, one of our local indigenous banks, actually subsidize rates and provide technical assistance to women entrepreneurs. If you're looking for a loan of maybe around 100,000 Ghana cedis, if you have cash that you can put down as collateral, maybe 25,000, that 25,000 will be lifted and put into an investment account for you. And then you'll be able to use that as collateral for you to be able to take a loan of the additional 75,000. UMB are also kind of coming in with a cash flow lending initiative, which is directly focused at traders. So once again, kind of making that distinction between startup businesses that are, developing kind of, early stage innovations, and then, traditional business women. And you can get a maximum of 150,000 Ghana cedis, and that would be reviewed and increased according to your repayment history. Now, we all know that lenders always prefer lending to women because, women are less risk adverse. They almost guarantee that, the non-performing loan portfolio of women is always far less than what it is with men, just being frank here. So I think the banks are really trying to cotton on to this opportunity that is available within the women's entrepreneurship space. However, policy is still needs to be revised. There are still a lot of bottlenecks. These opportunities are not going to be available for all women. They're only going to be available for women that have, the necessary training and skill set in order to be able to put in these applications. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but we're definitely making some headway.
Thank you, Leticia. So for our next panelist, we go to Kusum. Kusum, we have for you, you have a background from the Exim Bank, which has played a major role in supporting Indian companies and governments in export-oriented activities, as well as in providing lines of credit. What would you say are the most common challenges that you face while supporting Indian entrepreneurs, especially the women with businesses abroad and in countries like Ghana?
Thank you, Abena, for the kind introduction, and good morning to all who are present on the call today. See, basically, I would start by saying that like all of us are aware that emerging economies have become a very important growth hub, which is fueled by rising middle class, increasing purchasing power, steady economic growth, as well as availability of infrastructure. However, doing business with the emerging economies have its own set of challenges due to various reasons. And it is very important that our women entrepreneurs who want to enter into the international business, they are made aware of the risks which are associated with the international trade and how they can, what kind of products they can go in for to secure themselves. So first important the challenge which we face with regard to supporting the entrepreneurs in connection with their international trade is the adequacy of the security which they can provide us for the international trade financing purpose. Like for example, there are women entrepreneurs who want to set up their own ventures in India, or in fact, sometimes they want to set up their own ventures in the countries where they want to have business, but they are not having adequate security to give as a collateral for the loans. And this point has already been mentioned even by the Honorable High Commissioner. So this is something which needs to be taken care of, because if the sufficient collateral is not available, then it will be very difficult for an entrepreneur to start to have adequate capital for starting the business. This is one thing. Now, second big thing which I want to mention here is that MSMEs are mostly they are in the business of doing import and export transactions, and generally what happens is that they enter into viable commercial transactions with their counterparts in the other countries, and they are also given assurance of opening of letter of credits. But when they go back to the bankers, they don't many a times accept the letter of credits of some of the banks in the emerging countries. So this is a very, this becomes a kind of hurdle for them to understand how to complete their transactions. So in this reference, I would just like to mention that there is a very important tool. There is a program of IFC Washington for LC and guarantee confirmation. They have got a list of the bankers in emerging markets whose LCs they can confirm, and if these women entrepreneurs can consider to get the LCs open from these banks, they can ask their bankers to get in touch with they can ask their buyers to get in touch with these bankers, so that the LCs can be opened through those banks, because IFC, when they will guarantee those LCs, then it will be very easy for them to convince their bankers to get the adequate funding. In addition to this, it is very important that women entrepreneurs are made aware of the risks which are associated with the foreign trade, and the importance of taking insurance covers which organizations like ECGC in India is providing. And if they go in for those covers, it will be very easier for them to access the need-based finance from their bankers. In addition to this, I would also like to mention here that the entrepreneurs who are going for investments in these countries, they can also explore the possibility of obtaining cover from multilateral investment guarantee agencies, that is, which is part of IFCA, Washington, which is a member of World Bank Group. They can go in for taking investment covers from them when they are exploring the possibility of getting funding for their ventures in the overseas countries. So these are the 2 or 3 things which will I would recommend for women entrepreneurs to go in for. And if these kind of covers are explored, then they might not encounter the problem of getting need-based finance for their ventures overseas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kusum. In order not for us to lose our thoughts, my next question goes to both Leticia and Kusum before we go to the other sets of questions. So for dear panelists, Leticia and Kusum, what would be your advice to policymakers regarding better access to finance for women entrepreneurs? And then I would like to add, how can they support women entrepreneurs to recover better from the impacts of COVID-19 on their businesses? Over to you, Leticia.
Okay, so just maybe going back to my earlier and with regards to the kind of difference in where we both are, right, India and Ghana, in terms of our entrepreneurship development. I think that the work that needs to be done in Ghana really is fundamentally around developing the ecosystem. I don't think that we can talk about access to finance in isolation. I tried to do that when I was at the Ghana Angel Investor Network, and quite frankly, it didn't work because we didn't have an ecosystem to support with deal flow, right? Quality entrepreneurial ventures for investors to investing. We felt like we could jump the gun a little bit and provide that access. However, without that constant deal flow of quality entrepreneurship ventures coming through from incubators and accelerators and training programs and educational institutions that are providing entrepreneurial training, investors just don't have the quality of deals to invest in. The two just don't add up, essentially. So I think that although some work has begun on developing the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and quite recently, I mean, I think Kosi will probably speak to this a little bit more, but GEA was rebranded from the National Board of Small Scale Industries to GEA, which is Ghana Enterprises Agency, which basically now means that entrepreneurial support is going to be under one umbrella. So the collaboration of initiatives and coordination between initiatives is also very, very critical. But like fundamentally, as I said before, without the development of a robust ecosystem, which means training, the necessary policy in place, support for entrepreneurs in terms of incubators and accelerator programs, we're not necessarily going to see the traction at the pace that we want to see the traction. So as I mentioned earlier, over the last 6 years, we've seen a lot more development. However, if you want to accelerate that development, we're going to have to set the foundation and lay a very strong foundation for entrepreneurs coming right out of school, right through to entrepreneurs that are leaving corporate and wanting to, take up an entrepreneurial venture. We need to have support at each of these different touch points. I think that that's what's really critical in order for us to be able to create a more enabling environment for access to finance. Kosi made mention earlier about CatBus. I personally have had the opportunity to be part of an initiative between the former MBSSI and MasterCard Foundation called the Nkosua Fund. I sit on the investment committee, and Nkosua was a COVID relief fund that came up obviously during the period of COVID. But one of the things that was really interesting about this, and an opportunity that was created for female entrepreneurs that probably hasn't been done before, is that we're actually able to create a very specific matrix that allowed female entrepreneurs to be ranked higher than male entrepreneurs, just purely because of their gender, right? If banks were to take this approach, then more female entrepreneurs will be getting access to money. So I've learned a lot through this process, and we've been able to achieve, phenomenal results by just allowing the matrix and female entrepreneurs to be looked at through a different lens. So not only was that a COVID relief initiative, and it also comes along with technical assistance, which I think is very, very critical. But it's also, I think, a model that can be replicated by typical and traditional financial institutions that allow them to provide access to finance to more female entrepreneurs, just by tweaking the matrix and just by looking at women entrepreneurs through a slightly different lens, could have massive amounts of impact. So I think I'll hand over to Kusum to also bring her points to the table.
Thank you, Leticia. In fact, if I, on this topic of access to finance, if I need to speak from India's perspective, I think a number of schemes have already been introduced. A lot is being done for the empowerment of the women. Now the need is that the women should be made aware of the schemes which government has introduced for their welfare. So it's very important to arrange for programs so that they are given details of all these schemes and how they can take benefit of all these types of programs. And as far as access to finance is concerned, I don't think here in India we are actually there is any kind of all are being treated equally as far as finance is concerned, whether those are men or women. There is a need for giving training to women so that they are aware of the schemes and benefits which are being given to them. And also, as far as international trade is concerned, there is a need for arranging more awareness programs so that they are aware of the challenges and the risks which are associated with the international trade, so that when they step into this business, they get themselves fully secure from the risks which are associated with this particular trade. So that's all from my side. And I think women should also be they should also be given opportunities to participate and in various business delegations, so that they get due confidence as well as exposure in dealing with all these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Leticia and Kusum. So now then I go back to Shakila and Kosi for their thoughts on how these entrepreneurs can move forward. So first to Shakila, my question will be, as an Indian company trying to set up your business in Ghana, what are some of the barriers you've encountered in your bilateral trade with Ghana? And how do you think, in your opinion, this can be made easier for women entrepreneurs?
Thank you again, once again. So like I was saying, I've had the benefit of being the early bird there in terms of having the right associates to partner with. But the limitations are quite a plenty, but I see a lot of them have already been addressed by Leticia, Kusum, and the ambassador and the co-ambassador over here. I will just reiterate some of them. I'm sure it will come across as reiterating. First and foremost, what I would prefer, or as a woman entrepreneur, I've not been gone through a gender inequality so far. Let me be very honest over there. It's been very good and equal opportunity, like I said. Other than that, what I was looking forward to, as if I am into a business and I'm looking at new markets for my business expansion or a collaboration or an alliance, I would first and primarily look at what is the benefit that my company or my organization is getting in terms of setting up my entire operations in that place, because that's the most economical way of doing the business when you have a local setup. So that has been a great challenge so far, even today, as to setting up your own organization or setting up your team in not your own land kind of scenario. So that is something we need, and that leads to 2 or 3 similar questions, which are the supporting pillars for any organization. One, of course, the financial strength that I must hold to set myself up in that particular land, which in this case is Ghana. So if it is Ghana, what is my minimum operational cost, which has never been clear, because one area to another operational area, the cost varies, and then the support system also varies. So in the support system, and I have to say, somehow I have to stick to Accra itself, because the core operating or the central business operations of Ghana is limited to the area or the capital of Ghana, which is Accra. In my case, I'm sure for trading it is slightly different, because the origin of the source is somewhere else, and naturally the port is somewhere else, so their operations will call for a different requirements altogether. And the second one is the partnership that we are engaging in right now. We are depending on a different modus operandi that we've already used in different countries. Because with Ghana, we did not have a standard template or a method or a process, set rules and policies of engaging with a local partner. So that is something that I am looking forward to. Otherwise, it's very different. We have, Ghana has been placed for a lot of different kind of people to engage. So somebody coming with a Francophone country has a different experience. Somebody coming with Sri Lanka, South African experience is a different partner altogether. Somebody who's educated in US, somebody who's an Indian by nature already into business over there. You know, everybody has their own methods of engaging with us. So which means my alliance has different rules and regulations with different alliance partners. So we need to somehow look at some standard way or a procedure that we could follow. That's another important thing that I thought is something that I had to work out with, but really my own standards and procedures definitely do not apply as equal to everybody, right? So I think that is something maybe the suitable agencies over here and the senior sitting can come up with as a solution for people like me. And the other thing is the programs that basically marketing, right? I'm just coming back to marketing because that's another area. 5 years, and I think hardly anybody knows that I am engaged with companies in Ghana and I'm doing business, and a lot of people are only looking at commodity trading, and there's very little support that I can think in terms of representing myself as a fellow member over here in India or even there in Ghana as a business entrepreneur. So I think awareness that ABC agency exists for marketing purposes is very important, because a lot of agencies we do not know. I'm happy to learn that we have Ghana agency, which just now Leticia also mentioned, where we can go ahead, and Ghana Enterprise Agency, where we can register ourselves. I think this kind of agencies need to do more and more activity and enable us to connect and engage with people like you and esteemed other business people with whom we can have a good communication and business association. This is something which is very important, and FICCI, of course, is doing very well, and Flow is doing great. But this limits ourselves to, as Indians who are doing business, we want to be recognized on both the nations, right? That's the whole idea of expanding your business into new lands. So that is another important aspects in terms of marketing. business events, and then government rules, regulations, and policies. If that can be part of awareness program to entrepreneurs like us, will be great. I mean, direct interaction with the government or the government bodies to represent as a business or a business entrepreneur is another important thing, and to be informed on the policies timely whenever there is any new information or update that we can be informed in a timely manner and we can engage is also very critical. So these are few things that I think we're looking forward to.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's team working for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We can see there are common problems to these engagements with the businesses in all both countries as well. So now my last question goes to Kosi. Kosi, with your extensive experience and knowledge dealing with women entrepreneurs, how do you think these women can forge partnerships and make and explore the possibilities of working together with their counterparts in other countries? In other words, how do they put themselves together to make bilateral trade easier? Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I think that there are a few things that women from our part from Ghana need to do to get themselves ready. And I think the first and foremost, which we spoke about earlier, is the formalization. Because if you're not formalized, you cannot really take advantage of a lot of opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, if you look at the statistics, the data clearly states that majority of women-owned businesses in Ghana, yes, they are successful, are doing well, but a huge chunk of them are informal. And so how do you formalize them so they can access the needed support within the ecosystem and to really prepare to do more and serious trade? If you want to do trade seriously, and if you want to be able to grow sustainably and really scale up, you need to be able to formalize. The other is really also making sure that they are also getting all their certification and all the regulatory supports that they need, which is something we do with them at Ghana Enterprises Agency, and will continue to do and work with them to ensure that if they have the right certification, it allows them to really assess markets they wouldn't necessarily have been able to do had they been in this situation. I also think that one of the things for them to do to prepare themselves is really access to finance, because it takes finance for them to be able to really trade in the scale that they need to trade to make it make sense for people, as in how do we get the financing to buy the raw materials, to get the supports that is needed. So much, really for them to be able to go into serious
Kosi, you need to unmute yourself, please.
Hello, sorry. So it's one of those things that you have to, as much as possible. I was talking about access to finance. One of the things I tried not to make it the main focal point, but it's really important when you're talking about bilateral trade and making it work. And also lastly, lately is digitization. The world has changed. And so how do these women businesses, for them to be really active in bilateral trade and to be able to get the right partners, bring into play digital tools or technology for them, or e-commerce for them to be able to do the work that they've been doing. So I think that these, for me, are the main things that people utilize, and really also utilizing summits and platforms that would help them build the work they do.
Thank you, Kosi. Okay, so now I have some questions here. Thank you very much to all our panelists for your knowledge sharing and all the information you've given us as well. We'll come back to you when we need more. Hope you will be receptive to our request. Thank you. So I have some questions here. First, I have the immediate past president of FLOW, Janabi Fukan, who has a question for us, and I would just ask Janabi to right away go in with her question. Over to you, Janabi.
I'm not sure whether, oh, she's there. Janabi is there.
Okay, then we go to Monica. Is Monica Kodari around?
Yes, I am, ma'am.
Please go ahead with your question.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I run multiple companies. One of them is aluminium extrusion plant. We do window scheduling. Being in the construction industry, and we understand Ghana does a lot of construction work, is that a kind of business relationship we can work with Ghana? Does Ghana have their own extrusion plants and assembly plants as well? That is one question I would like to ask. That's a very specific industry question.
Thank you very much. Well, we will, like I said, we'll have a consolidated response to your in-depth question and some other ones that I have here, so we can share with the directory as well. So I have also Taruna Patel, who also have a question for us to add to our database. If Taruna is available, please go ahead with your question. Thank you, and over.
I think Taruna's not here. I'll send her a question later. Taruna's not here.
Thank you. Leticia, Enya is a colleague from UNCDF, had a question in the chat, which has already been responded, but I'm sure other people will want to know what this is about, and then Leticia can elaborate briefly on that as well. So Enya says, considering the financial inclusion sector in Ghana, how do you see the transition of digital/mobile financial services to improve access to finance for women entrepreneurs? Leticia, I know you already responded, so just a brief elaboration for other participants to benefit from your response. Thank you, and over.
Okay, so I think the question is coming from the understanding that women in rural areas and maybe some more remote areas do not have access to typical banking services. And then in addition to that, even women that are living in more urban areas, but maybe working in the informal sector, are less likely to patronize a typical financial institution and put their money into the bank and prefer to trade in cash. Mobile money is definitely penetrating at a very rapid rate. And I think that due to COVID-19, the penetration of mobile money has accelerated quite rapidly. So this definitely means, without a doubt, that women that would previously be considered, in the bucket of what you call the unbanked, are now able to build some kind of, financial track record because they're transacting with mobile money. So even without having a smartphone, using a basic analog phone, you can send and receive money to pay for the goods or services that you are rendering. So this definitely kind of goes a long way, but it's really not the only solution to what we call access to finance challenges, right? It's great. It definitely provides, as I said, or could provide an opportunity for these women to start building some financial track record. But what we now need to do is we need to start innovating in the mobile money space. And I've seen a few startups trying to do this, a few startups trying to utilize the records that are extracted from mobile money users to actually build some kind of financial statement that allows them to be able to get access to loans. We're seeing more and more lending opportunities for mobile money owners or operators, should I say. So there are small strides, but I think that now that mobile money is really becoming part of what we do on a daily basis, the next step is how do we innovate in that space and how do we provide additional services, not just in terms of access to finance and access to loans, but additional services for these women that they may not have been able to access before. That could be insurance, it could be, education, financial education. There are a number of different ways in which we can build upon this mobile money platform to empower these women with the necessary access to information that they need in order for them to be able to grow and scale.
Thank you, Leticia. Just before I was going to go off, there's another question which I think without putting you on the spot, I think you can help us. There's another query on, say, is the med sector in Ghana open to trading of COVID essential products from India? Okay, so we missed Kosi, and believe me, we'll compile all the responses to all these questions and send to the directory as well. I would like to say thank you very much to our panelists, our participants, our dignitaries, and everyone who has been with us throughout the whole time. We saw common problems running through, including the knowledge of clearer idea of what is really needed in setting up businesses in both countries. Thank you very much all for being part of the program, and over to you, Dimitri. Thanks.
Thanks, Abhina. It was a very, very interesting panel. We got to know so much. We learned a lot. It was really interesting and informative. And I think what came out of this is very clear that knowledge and information needs to be shared widely, because there are a lot of things that's happening in Ghana which entrepreneurs are not aware of in India. And similarly, the Ghanaians would know what's happening in India and the scope of doing business with both the countries. I think we need to have more of these interactions, more of these collaborations, so that we can take this forward. And very, very interesting. Thank you, Abhina. Thank you, Kosi. Thank you, Leticia. Thank you, Kusum. Thank you, Shakila, for all your, the way you kind of got us so interested in the panel, and we didn't see that we have overshot time or anything. And all the queries we've received on the chat, also in the group we have set up, the WhatsApp groups, we've compiled those questions and we will seek the answers from both the Indian and the Ghanaian side and send them to you. So we'll definitely respond to the queries, and thank you very much. Now over to Senior Vice President of FICCI Flow, Mrs. Jayanti Dalmia, for her vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to propose the vote of thanks for the conclave today. It was very interesting and a very, very interesting conclave today. We learned a lot about trade between Ghana and India. Honorable Michael Okier-Bafi, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry of Ghana, we thank you and your ministry for addressing us and the support you give us. Your Excellency, Mr. Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana, we are thankful to you for giving us your valuable time and addressing us. Your Excellency, Mr. Sebastian Bellivine, Charge the Affairs of Ghana High Commission in New Delhi, thank you for sharing your valuable inputs. Sincere thanks to United Nations Ghana for joining forces with Flow to create opportunities for partnership between women entrepreneurs from India and Ghana, which we really look forward to taking it from here. A big thank you to Charles Abani, UN Resident Coordinator in Ghana, for the collaboration. Thank you, Gifty from UN Ghana, for all your support. Thank you, Abina from UN Habitat, and all the esteemed panelists, Kosi, Leticia, Kusum, and Shakila, for the invigorating panel discussions. It was really very educative, and we learned a lot about how to do business in Ghana, and I'm sure the Flow women will take it forward. I thank the women entrepreneurs from both the nations who participated in the interaction. We hope this relationship will result in increase in bilateral trade among us women entrepreneurs. Namaskar, thank you.
Thank you. And as always, no one wants to leave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.